I will now look into supervision via the metaphor of environment. Supervision, of course, is a travel in time, but there's also a lot we can do by building structures and environments and cultures. Research shows that supervisor support is crucial to the successful PhD process. But research also shows that it takes a village to raise PhD. Research also shows that PhD students who feel that they belong to a research community and who feel that their work is contributing to a meaningful whole are less likely to feel stress or exhaustion or leave their PhD studies. Belonging to a community is a key element of the process of becoming a PhD, and it's essential in developing strong agency. Disciplinary cultures are quite different in the ways in which they use group work in research. In natural or behavioral sciences, it is typical to work in large research groups, whereas in, for instance, humanities, scholarly work is more of an individual endeavor. However, research is always carried out in communities, and it is relevant to become part of one, or perhaps even a set of communities or networks. The sense of belonging to a community or having a meaningful participation is actually not dependent on which kind of disciplinary culture you are part of. It is more of a function of practices and interactions within the research community. Another important lesson from university pedagogical research is the importance of peer interaction in becoming a PhD. It's relevant in terms of learning research skills and academic literacy, which is the skills of reading, writing, argumentation, and dialogue in the academia, but also in terms of developing identities, strengthening self-efficiency, giving and getting support, and sharing experiences. Groups and communities, of course, exist without our effort, but it takes some attention and activity from us supervisors to help these groups and communities become useful as learning environments. Also, often problems that surface in the one-to-one interaction of supervision actually stem from the community level, such as curriculum, recruitment, levels of competence. So many of the issues of supervision as such that we cannot solve them alone, we need our colleagues. How can the community supervise? First, I will give you a few checkpoints on how to help your community, that is your department, research school, research project, to become a good learning environment. Firstly, make sure and take some time among the relevant parties to familiarize yourselves with the process of becoming a PhD, all the way from recruitment to graduation. Think especially about competences to be learned. Are they supported by relevant pedagogical support, such as training, courses, seminars, workshops, checkups? Think also about links to postdoc phase and work life. Are we developing the skills that we need to be developing? Discuss the division of labor of all those who contribute to the PhD process and make sure that there is a sufficiently shared common aim. Is information about the PhD path easily available to those who need it? And what are the pedagogical methods you use in addition to one-to-one supervision? Are your methods supporting the skills you wish to develop? Are they giving the PhD students chance to present their work and communicate about it? How are the PhD students involved in teaching in the community? And how are they participating in the international activities, conferences, visiting lectures, workshops? Get feedback from your PhD students and those who have graduated earlier. Pay attention to their career paths, and if your university is providing statistics about PhD students' careers and employment, make use of them in developing your PhD training environment. And pay attention to the well-being of PhD students and make sure you know where help is provided for problems of well-being and health. A group may be a given format in research environments where research groups are used, and also PhD seminars and workshops are often a typical way of working with PhD students. But if you're not used to the idea, you might want to consider the benefits of using a group as a pedagogical tool. There are many benefits to group work, as research and literature informs us. Groups offer a platform for learning and practicing skills. It provides a synergy of various skills and personalities. Groups offer the chance to share experiences and hardships and get comfort and support from others. One aspect of this is sharing similarities, the feeling that we are in the same boat. On the other hand, groups offer us a chance to realize that we are different and not the same. And this enriches our thinking in many ways. When using a group as a learning environment, you may have various pedagogical roles as a supervisor. As a facilitator, you will take care of the frame, the timing, and transitions of an encounter. You enable the participants to come together and have a platform for sharing ideas, but that is basically all you do. The group provides all the contents and directions. When you are an interactional instructor, you will show what kind of interactional contributions are appropriate. For instance, how to provide feedback, what sort of questions to ask. You may want to instruct participants not to exceed their share of talking time or not to interrupt each other, etc. As a commentator, you will take part in the interaction itself by summarizing, commenting on both the content of the talk and the activities and sometimes emotions. And finally, as an expert or teacher, you will give evaluative comments, advice, and direct the talk towards the goals and aims that are relevant to the task at hand. You will show how your comments are related to the academic criteria that are relevant to the situation. For a research supervisor, all these functions can be important. It's typical that all these tasks are on one person, and this is sometimes burdensome, and it's difficult to pay attention to all these elements at the same time. So with a supervisor colleague, it's actually beneficial to share these tasks, and this will allow you to be more observant. It's also possible to have the PhD students take turns in taking one of these roles. Groups can be used as learning platforms in many ways. You can use existing research groups and teams, or you can establish a study group, seminar, or working group among your PhD students. Groups always have two tasks they need simultaneously to take into account. They need to be doing their work, and they need to maintain the cohesion of the group. A well-functioning group, first of all, recognizes itself as a group, has a sufficient cohesion, that is, the members like the group and are willing to be its members, has a shared goal to a sufficient extent and commitment to it, and is committed and accountable to each other. It tolerates some conflict and is able to solve conflicts. A group will take time to form itself, and there might be phases of storming, that is conflict or disorder, before the group finds its ways of working and a balance that allows performing in the task. Also, at some point, the group might become too wary of bringing up difficult issues in order to preserve the status quo, and that is why groups need leaders. Research on groups informs us that groups that are left without overt leadership will develop implicit patterns of power which are often not productive in terms of the task at hand. And that is why some playing rules and transparent aims are important. So when leading a group, the tasks of the supervisor vary according to the phase of the work. When leading a group, the tasks of the supervisor vary according to the phase of the work. So in the beginning, help members to get to know each other and establish cohesion. Help the group to establish trust and playing rules regarding the upcoming work. Help the group to establish a goal and plan their work. Remind the group of equal participation, constructive criticism, and active listening. During work, monitor and give support if needed. Help the group to evaluate and check on task and group interaction. Give feedback, help to deal with problems, and reorganize work if necessary. At the end of the work, help the group to evaluate its work, both the task and the process, and learn from it. Give and receive feedback, show appreciation, and help the group to do that too. And constantly throughout the process, maintain the main goal in sight and make sure everyone is able to participate. Building dialogical spaces in groups and communities help you to create work environments where both supervisors and PhD students can learn, do research, and be well. The simplest route to the next step in developing your research community as a learning environment is to sit down and talk with your PhD students, listen to what they have to say, and enjoy their company.